Hello everyone, my name is Jordan Reynolds and thank you for joining me on this journey today. My presentation was not the one that I thought I would be giving to you all, although I am very excited for the future outcome of the project that I'm about to present to you. My project will be focusing on the environmental, social, and economic impacts of remote work. Let us get started as I take you on the journey of my project. At first, the original intent of this project started out in a completely different spectrum. The problem was addressing the single-use plastic waste when handling Starbucks product and how to decrease it. Although the project took a turn for the worst due to the outbreak of COVID-19, shutting down a majority of all Starbucks stores, including my cafe store that I was working with. At this point, the transition for this project was set towards my current workplace with the Business and Professions Division at the State of Washington Department of Licensing. The reason that compelled me to begin the second project was seeing the impact of how much paper I was using and how I had a chance to change that, not only within my own jurisdiction, but also with my coworkers. Again, due to the pandemic, and it ended up changing yet another time, which leads me to the environmental, social, and economic impacts of remote work. The transition started out with a lot of tears and frustration due to having the work of my project of almost 6 months have to be completely restarted with a new topic for the third and final time. After a little while, the idea finally clicked. I have been working remotely since the beginning of March 2020, where I had limited access to the office. I then became a fully remote employee in June of 2020 due to being classified as a high risk because of being pregnant, I'm not anymore, and the transition of work that was needed from me. I started to notice all the benefits that came with the environment switch. There's been a shift in how people view what work is supposed to look like. So I asked myself, why does it have to be in the office? Or why is it not appropriate for employees to work remotely? Within this new paradigm, you will see how sustainability through remote work establishes its place, its downfalls, and how we should utilize the opportunities that it exudes. Currently, my employment status is working full-time with the Notary Public and Uniform Commercial Code programs at the Business and Professions Division with the Department of Licensing for the State of Washington. As I was moving across the country, I noticed that there was still an opportunity waiting for me in another state, even though I worked for a state agency. Once I arrived in Georgia with my husband and 2 dogs, this is where everything had to get set into play in October of 2020. The internet was hooked up, our household goods arrived, and getting the rest of the house in order. The first thing that I had to accomplish was to ensure that my computer, of course, was installed and ready to go so I could work. Then I had to create a project that showed the impacts of remote work and why the Department of Licensing, DOL, and Business Professions Division, BPD, needed to jump on board. Through updating and encouraging proactive business practices on remote work, this could change the work ethic of the Department of Licensing and other state governments. After noticing a unique opportunity of remote work and its overall sustainability as I was working within the agency, I decided to investigate as why the option was not used as much even before the pandemic. When you look at a typical day within the programs of Notary Public and UCC, almost all of the work is capable of being completely virtual. So why not also expand just past these 2 programs? The Notary Public program has a majority of their applications now online. The applications that we receive by mail can be scanned to us through the individuals at the mail stop. This is how other programs throughout the division operate, and one that we are trying to move towards. So finally, the UCC programs receive a majority of the filings online, although they also have the capability of being scanned into the program as well, just like that. The downfall with having UCC completely virtual is validating the money, and if any filings are sent with the incorrect amount of money, although that's the only downfall. So as I was reaping the benefits on working fully remotely, I wanted to make sure that this project reached its full potential, which is where I wanted to show the Department of Licensing executive leadership team, supervisors, and employees how sustainability through remote work emphasizes 9 core benefits for the state government agency and even other organizations and businesses, and how they can instill sustainable solutions. So shifting the view of how it is more efficient to be physically present at work is just not sustainable, especially when we are uncertain as to how long this pandemic will be with us and how long it will take our economy to reach its full potential again. This project will be successful through you, the employees of BPD, and everyone sitting here by being proactive and taking the initiative to instill working remotely in order to help the environment and DOL both economically and socially. And of course, other organizations economically and socially. Focusing on the 9 benefits of sustainability through remote work, I have sectioned them off with the 3 pillars of sustainability. The first being economic. They are as the following for economic. The first is an increase in worker productivity. The second is savings in overall costs, for instance, in rent, utilities, building maintenance, cleaning, equipment, and furniture. And third is a reduction in absences. So how exactly are overhead costs cut? Organizations save an average of $11,000 per year per part-time telecommuter, or for instance, 21% higher profitability. So for instance, with the Notary Republic and UCC programs, there are a total of 6 employees. 4 are part-time telecommuters, which means they are saving at least $66,000 a year. Next, less absences due to the weather, since employees do not have to travel, which makes commute times non-existent, even though some employees liked the snow days that had to occur, getting paid to not come into work. Through these strengths, we are showing that these initiatives we are making change with remote work and team effort. The second pillar of sustainability is environmental. The future of companies and organizations need to be green. Sustainability through remote work tackles climate change because it is one of the most crucial points upon our world. We look at the first topic, and that is reducing not only our carbon footprint, but lowering our second, which is power consumption. For example, if everybody was able to work from home worldwide for just 1 day a week, it would save around 1% of global oil consumption for road passenger transport per year. And that's simply just 1 day a week. Imagine if we did that 5 days a week, so that number will only increase. Finally, the third one is through lowering paper waste at DOL. This helps in consumption and ensures that landfills are not full of paper that should not even exist. The global pandemic is assisting with the decisions of moving more into a paperless organization, and through working remotely, paper will be almost fictional. The third pillar of sustainability is social. The first topic is retaining talent through employee retention. You then have an increase in productivity. So I'm a prime example as to why working fully remote is sustainable, even from a different state. The quality of work that is produced, all while not having to retrain someone if I were to have been let go. If I had left the notary and UCC programs, then they also would not have been able to hire someone else due to a hiring freeze that is occurring because of the pandemic. The next point is you have an increase in employee collaboration because there are less distractions occurring throughout the workplace and more performance on tasks. Sometimes you have the distractions at home, but in order to stay with the job, you have to make sure you perform what is asked of you. So finally, the last topic is the applicant pool for future positions. You have the ability to not only meet people from all over the world, but you have an increase in talent and competition for the positions that are open. More diversity. The 9 benefits of sustainability through remote work that I just presented to you was delivered to the Department of Licensing Business and Professions Division to ensure that the executive leadership team understood the overall impact of remote work. This deliverable shows the global implications of working remotely and how it will be indicative to other businesses and agencies and other organizations and other companies through social, monetary, and environmental incentives. Organizations need to engage in connections that affirm progress through the 9 benefits of sustainability through remote work. This in turn will not only help the Department of Licensing, BPD, in the present time, but it will improve the organization and other organizations overall for the future, including the health and well-being of the employees. Just like any other initiative, there are threats that come along with this project. When it comes to managing the threats of security concerns, organizations all around the globe are facing more of an uptick in email-based threats. So for instance, phishing, malware, and spyware, just to name a few. Therefore, this means that the companies who are encouraging their employees to work remotely also need to take the time to ensure that they educate their employees on these type of scams or how to deal with them. It's now more important than ever to consider both a security practitioner as well as the ethical hacker perspectives in order to stay secure. So at this point, if you're thinking the training will cost more money, it will not. This can be included in the once-a-year training through the online platform of learning management systems. There just has to be a conversation and decision made by the executive leadership team of BPD to ensure the changes are made. On top of security threats, it is harder to manage the employees, and because in order for a remote work to be successful, you have to trust your employees even more than you would, ensuring that they are completing the work that you are asking them to. At times, it may seem like the supervisor could potentially be micromanaging their employees. The final potential threat that are technology issues and how the final potential threat are technology issues and how the employee could have troubles with their internet at home or have troubles connecting to the virtual private network, VPN. For instance, it's the one that the company has set up. So if the bandwidth isn't large enough, then this can cause problems for how fast and slow the connection is for the employees. So how is remote work the sustainable solution to the future? We have the ability to bring something new to the department as a whole. It gives the power back to the employees at all levels, and even in any other organization or company, to build something when you see something. It allows employees at all levels to enroll anyone into their creation and share it across the organization. This internal change allows the employees to show their empowerment through their performance. If you have empowered employees, you have personnel that want to stay and participate, especially when remote work is an option in the long run. What specifically do I want you as my audience to do next after this presentation is over? For the supervisors who are in charge of the schedules and have the say on who gets to work remotely, let your employees at least try it out, even if it's part-time. For the employees sitting here, ask your supervisor, can I work remotely? So for instance, you can save your organization, business, company, an average of $11,000 if one employee works remotely part-time. So if you have 10 employees, that's $110,000. Imagine how much your whole agency can save. That's over, for instance, for DOL, that's over 10,000 employees. That's $110 million. It's a lot of money. So what will I be doing after this presentation? I will be spreading the word even more throughout this agency and other companies and businesses on why remote work is sustainable and the impacts that it has environmentally, economically, and socially. I need you to follow the solutions that I've put forth and more importantly, hold each other accountable when you're working from home. Therefore, your call to action is to be a leader in finding creative ways to be more sustainable from home that suits you. This is because everyone is different, and what may suit me may not be for the next person. An example is always having my dogs around. This may not work for some because they would get too distracted, so see where it works best for you. So finally, the Department of Licensing has committed to being more sustainable. I wanted to tackle remote work and why it is suitable in an overall manner. This changes the work ethic of the Department of Licensing and other state governments, and it can change yours too. We need to act on this initiative and not just let it pass us by. Taking these small steps towards remote work will make a tremendous change for our division, your company, your organization, economically, socially, and environmentally. It is about time DOL, BPD, and other organizations starts being proactive during this time of climate change. We have to take the responsibility for the health and well-being of our employees, all through making a difference because of choosing sustainability through remote work. The difference is created through the work of the employees, supervisors, and leadership teams of all organizations. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you consider the impacts of remote work for your organization and for the future.